My beautiful wife and I recently had a baby boy, and during her pregnancy, she suffered from acne. She's always had great skin, so it was totally new to her, and it was devastating to her self-esteem. She was given some prescription cream from her dermatologist, and it worked for a little while. Then it stopped working. I know this might not be a big deal to some people, but she's very insecure about her looks. I don't know why, and she felt terrible. Well, I recently found out that my sisters, teens, were switching her prescription cream with regular moisturizer. I've never been so angry with them in my life. I exploded. My mom had them apologize and told them they needed to pay for all the cream that they threw away. They're so spoiled that their response was, okay, and then sticking their hands out to our mom. She said she wasn't paying, and they needed to figure it out. My mom was serious. They needed to pay, but she also didn't seem okay with them getting jobs. She has this attitude that she's worked too hard for her daughters to have some crappy job at the mall. I guess she was expecting them to sell something or maybe babysit. Well, they recently came up with the money. I took it, of course, but I'm still not ready to move on with them. However, as they were leaving, I heard this exchange. My mom asked where they got it, and they both looked at her fiancé and burst out laughing. My mom looked at him, and he was like, well, you just said you wouldn't give it to them. You never said I couldn't. I saw red. I confronted him immediately, and he told me what he did with his money wasn't my business. I said that while technically this is true, I would never look at him the same way again. I don't want him in my house, and I'm not going to their wedding. Now my mom's calling me ridiculous and saying that they're a package deal, so don't expect her to come around either. Because I know what a big deal a wedding is, I feel slightly bad for refusing to allow my mom's fiancé in our home and boycotting their wedding. Edit. My sisters were very angry our mom was letting us stay at the house because they hate my wife and they felt our mom was being too nice. Not the idiot for choosing your wife over a bunch of selfish idiots. If they're behaving like this now, they will behave like this in the future. If your mom wants to come down on the wrong side of this, that's up to her. She can come or not. Don't let them blackmail you into folding on this issue. If there's time, you could try to seek some family counseling to deal with this issue. However, it sounds like they won't be interested in doing the right thing. Otherwise, stand your ground. Your sisters mess with a pregnant woman's health, emotional, and mental state, and your mom only had to say that they needed to pay back the money, but wouldn't allow them to get jobs? What your sisters did was unbelievably cruel to your wife, and your mother's fiancé enabled them to escape responsibility for it. Seriously, what is wrong with all four of them? Maybe swap out their wedding cake for polystyrene. Yeah, your sisters learned absolutely nothing. They'd switch the Aquaphor with contractor glue or put itching powder in the diaper cream. Kids, teenagers, young adults, or adults. OP should not let any of them anywhere near his wife or child because they clearly don't have remorse or recognize what they did was wrong. As if antepartum or postpartum isn't hard enough. Don't trust them, ever. 110% this. Who does that to a pregnant woman? Even a woman who just gave birth. The toll pregnancy can take on your body is a lot. Quite frankly, I don't think he could ever trust them when they're around their children, especially if his sisters are basically adults. OP, I support strong family bonds, but in cases like this, it's probably best to distance yourself and your wife and child for your sanity and safety. I wouldn't want any of these people around a newborn. Lord knows what the Caddy sisters would do. My fiancé, Daniel, and I are in the process of planning our wedding. We recently decided on a catering service that we thought was the best option with our price range and would satisfy all our guests' dietary needs. Most significantly, Daniel's brother has a tree nut allergy, so we needed a service that would accommodate that, which limited our options. About a week ago, my cousin Meredith contacted me to let me know she's now vegan and gluten-free for health reasons. Meredith is known to hop on trends only to move on to something else the next month, whether it be clothes, food, etc. So I highly doubt she'll still be vegan and gluten-free by the time the wedding rolls around. Still, we hadn't finalized our menu yet, so I sent her the catering website and asked her to pick what she wanted. A few minutes later, Meredith informed me that the only vegan gluten-free entree was a mushroom dish and said, "You know I despise mushrooms." I had no idea. I also had no idea she was vegan and gluten-free. She asked if there was another catering company I could use. I told her no. Both Daniel and I looked through the menus for companies that satisfied all the dietary needs of our guests and picked the one we liked the most. I didn't say this, but it's also a matter of principle and not just which food we like. Asking us to change our catering service to accommodate her want, not her need, is incredibly self-centered. And if I agreed, I would be reinforcing crappy behavior. She complained, "Everyone's needs are met but mine." And I retorted, "Your needs are met. If you don't like mushrooms, perhaps you can eat beforehand." I thought that would be the end of it, but the next morning I woke up to several messages from Meredith with links to catering companies. Most of them were vegan or gluten-free. I am not subjecting my guests to a vegan or gluten-free wedding, and some of them were companies Daniel and I had looked at. I told Meredith my decision was final, and that if she pressed more, I would uninvite her from my wedding. She's not bothered me since. I asked Daniel what he thought since he was my voice of reason, and he said that I shouldn't have threatened to uninvite Meredith over some text messages. He even said that if she just really hated mushrooms and had no real reason to be vegan or gluten-free, we could pick a different place, and it wasn't a big deal. It's easier for us to change so early in the process, and there were lots of other options we liked. I told him it's not just about the food or the hassle of change. It's about principle. Daniel said if I was really that petty and just wanted to teach Meredith a lesson, I should let it go. Does not changing the catering company make me the idiot? Not the idiot at all. As you said, she's asking you to change your caterer to accommodate her wants, not her needs. I think it's reasonable to get upset if your wedding didn't have options for her dietary restrictions. But if there is a vegan gluten-free option, it's not your responsibility to make sure it's something that she'll like. More importantly, it's your wedding, and you should ensure you cater food you and your fiancé would enjoy. It is meant to be your day. Meredith contacted me to let me know she's now eating vegan and gluten-free for health reasons. Well, then she can have one unhealthy meal. I mean, shouldn't she be going for the wedding and not the food? I want to know why your fiancé is trying so hard to defend and cater to this selfish cousin instead of his brothers and others. I find it really odd that he's willing to put everyone else, including his own brother, at risk so that your selfish cousin could be happy. I just find it weird. Is she like his mistress? Do they have a close bond that makes them friends? Do they hang out at all? I just don't understand why he's so willing to change a caterer so that she's happy for a selfish want, but not for his brother's needs. Thank you. Why did it take so long to see anyone comment about the fiancé's behavior? It sounds like OP isn't even that close to their cousin, and yet the fiancé wants OP to jump through hoops to accommodate the cousin? Her cousin is super entitled, but her soon-to-be husband is calling her petty? Like, what? It's not petty to not break contracts for one person's wants. I find his strong reaction super weird. Maybe he just wants his new family to like him, and he's a people pleaser to the max. But to then turn it on OP and make it seem like she's being unreasonable is crazy to me. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. We have 2 children, tweens. I pay all the bills, put money aside for the kids' education, emergencies, savings, vacation, retirement, etc., and then split whatever's left, 50-50 with my wife. Recently, she's decided that I don't do enough around the house, so she wants me to start doing more chores. Asked if we were going to split up all the chores again. What I mean is that the kids have their chores, she has hers, and I have mine. So if she wants me to do more, I want mine redistributed as well. I think she can mow the lawn and do the yard work and the house maintenance. This is not what she wants. She wants me to take on more of the chores we agreed would be hers, on top of earning all the money and all the chores I currently have. I asked her what she wanted me to do. She gave me a list. I hired a cleaning service and paid it out for our budget before splitting the fund money. Now she says that I'm an idiot and being financially abusive. It's a fair compromise. Am I the idiot for hiring a cleaning service and paying for it out of my wife's budget? A compromise is an agreement made between both sides. From the description, it sounds like you did this unilaterally and are now dealing with the fallout. Everyone's the idiot here because even if her request was unreasonable, relationships don't survive unilateral decision-making and failure to communicate. Your children are tweens, and I assume are not homeschooled. What exactly is your wife doing all week? Keeping up with the Kardashians? Or watching TikTok about how horrible and lazy men are? Part of her job, for lack of a better way to describe it, is to take care of much of the housework the majority of the time. And I say this as a woman, your kids are old enough when they can do more chores and not less. I would get that she needed help with chores when the kids were toddlers, but with kids being out of the house, school, friends, hobbies, etc., for a big chunk of the day, and not needing much attention even when they are, she's just lazy. My parents had me, 22 male, at 19, and I was an only child for 6 years. Then they had 3 back-to-back kids who are now all teens. My parents were never the most attentive, but they did a better job with my younger siblings than with me. But at some point, while my siblings were still young, they started to come to me like I was an adult instead of mom or dad, and mom and dad let it happen. They were still there, but my siblings would ask me to make their food, ask me for money. I had none back then, wanted me to help with homework, or come to see me if they struggled to do their chores. It got annoying very quickly, and I asked my parents to step in so I wasn't always saying no, or having a sibling throwing a tantrum because I wasn't acting more like an adult in the house who was there to do stuff for them. My parents were there for the basics, and if my siblings didn't come to me, they'd deal with stuff, but otherwise they seemed glad to not to have to deal with all the parenting. They still weren't as good with me as my siblings either. It was things like prioritizing supporting my siblings instead of me, or making a significant effort for their birthdays but not mine. Christmas was another time it was super obvious because my siblings got the gifts they wanted, and I got needed stuff like hygiene products, socks, and underwear. I brought it up to my parents when I was 15, and they used the excuse that they had me at 19, so they just didn't know how to connect with me the same way, and didn't have the means to provide for me like they did my siblings. When I learned how to drive and started working, my siblings' reliance on me got worse. They wanted me to drive them places and give them money. They wanted me to take them to school and pick them up. And they would expect me to buy birthday gifts for their friends and take them shopping for that stuff. My youngest sibling even asked me to be a parent chaperone on a field trip when I was only 16. It was suffocating and my siblings could not be spoken to about it. They just wanted me to be the dad. They even called me dad sometimes. I was desperate to get out. The global issue almost messed it up, but I was lucky my girlfriend's family let me move in with them. Once I left, I tried to better enforce my boundaries and create distance, but they still wanted me there, and they'd cry down the phone about me leaving and not being there for stuff. Now that my siblings are teens, I tried to talk to them about it again, but my sister, the oldest, said I had to do these things because I'm supposed to. I asked her why I was supposed to, and she said, because you're basically our dad. My brothers agreed. I admit it made me angry, and I told them in a firm and angry tone that I'm not their dad, and they need to stop acting like I'm their parent, because I'm their sibling. The oldest, sure, but I'm not their parent, and I'm not responsible for them. They said I was an idiot and I should like caring for them. Am I the idiot for telling my younger siblings I'm not their dad? Not the idiot. Great. Your parents were 19. So why are you expected to be a better parent to their kids? What's their excuse now? Stand up for yourself and call out your parents for basically forcing a parent role on you. Your siblings are not completely innocent, but they're not the idiots either. Your parents are. You'll need to sit them down and explain clearly why your family dynamics are not okay and why you can't meet their needs like they want. I have a feeling that your parents have actively encouraged this behavior with your siblings. They probably said to the kids, "Go ask your brother," countless times when the kids went to the parents. Why else do they believe that you're their go-to for support? They believe it's your job too. Your parents had to have helped put that in their heads. I wouldn't be surprised if OP's parents started having other kids when they realized they could stick them on OP. At the ripe old age of 6, it occurred to them that OP was the perfect age to help with child rearing, so they could go and live the life OP deprived them of. Because, OP owes them. Dude, they are teenagers. If they're coming to you and asking you to be a parent, then your actual parents are probably doing even less than you think they are. Your parents are the idiots. Your siblings need therapy. You might need some too for yourself and for finding a constructive way to communicate with them. Moving out was a good call. Take care of yourself and consider how you want to move forward at your own pace. My girlfriend wanted a pizza. I have delicious frozen pizzas from the local Italian market. They're made fresh, and if you do them on a pizza stone, they come out perfect. I've made these for us many times. It's a simple process. You put the pizza stone in the oven and let the oven preheat. Put the pizza on the paddle and slide it onto the hot stone. Once ready, you slide the paddle under the pizza and pull it out. Then put it on the carving board and cut it. Easy, right? Nope. My pizza stone was dirty. It was scorched, not dirty. So her brilliant idea was to make the pizza on my plastic cutting board, because that way she could take the cutting board out with the oven mitts and cut the pizza without having to use all the tools. I got home to see black smoke coming out of my house and my girlfriend on the phone with 911. My dog's not on his leash and he's going crazy. I go to the front door to see if it's hot in the house or if I can see flames. No flames, no heat. I get to the stove and turn it off. I open the sliding door to let out more smoke and get my leash on the way out. The firefighters are there within 5 minutes, and the smoke is already dissipating. They go in to make sure. All clear. Thank God they were there for less than an hour. It's covered by the city. If it had been over an hour, I would have been charged for the response. My oven is screwed, though, and I have a lot of smoke damage to clean up. I told my girlfriend I was glad she was okay, but that she was an idiot, and she wasn't allowed in my house alone for a while. I took her key away. We don't live together, but she has roommates and likes having a big house to herself on her days off. She says that it's a mistake anyone could make, and that I'm an idiot for calling her names. Yes, she said those words. She says it's my fault for not just getting microwave pizza and having to eat fancy. You're not the idiot. She says that it's a mistake anyone could make. If they're high as a kite, she has a point, but anyone over the age of 5 knows plastic melts. Dude, if heating frozen pizza in the oven correctly is outside her scope of abilities, you're not the problem. LMAO, right? If I'm high, I might forget I even put a pizza in the oven and then think, huh? What's that burning smell? Oh crap, I made a pizza, and go turn it off. But I'm not gonna put darn plastic in an oven. Like, what is she, 5 years old? Normally I hate stories when people encourage a breakup, but trying to put a plastic board in the oven is such next level dumb. I would feel anxiety about all the other basic crap I might have to explain. Like, does she know not to drink the toilet water? Or that the dog cannot answer the telephone, etc.? Do you really want to be in a relationship with someone so clueless as to endanger her own safety and yours? That was beyond stupid and dangerous. I would have lost all attraction to someone who did that.